When I first moved into Maple Ridge Estates, I thought I'd finally made it. A quiet neighborhood, tree-lined streets, kids playing catch in the evenings. It looked like the kind of place where nothing ever went wrong. I was wrong. The first sign of trouble came one Tuesday afternoon. I pulled into my driveway, coffee still warm in my cup holder, and froze. There were bulldozers on my land, not beside it, on it. A dozen workers were hammering, shouting measurements, dragging wood beams across my yard. Right in the middle stood a huge sign, future site of the Maple Ridge community. Clubhouse, coming summer 2025. I walked up to the nearest guy. Hey, what are you doing on my property? He looked up, confused. You're Mr. Walker, right? HOA said we could start today. You might want to talk to them. I could feel my heartbeat in my ears. HOA? I stormed down to the community office. Behind the front desk sat Karen, the HOA president, a woman whose smile looked like it had been professionally sharpened. Mr. Walker, she said cheerfully, I've been meaning to speak with you. Isn't it exciting? The new clubhouse will be wonderful for our neighborhood. Yeah, I said, setting my jaw. Except it's being built on my land. Her smile didn't even flicker. According to our community plans, that area is designated as shared property. Not according to this. I dropped my deed on her desk. Lot 17B, private property. You're building on it. Karen scanned the papers, then gave a delicate shrug. Looks like a clerical mix-up. But since construction's already underway, moving it would cost quite a bit. I'm sure we can come to an arrangement. An arrangement. That word hit me like a spark. That night, I called my lawyer. He confirmed exactly what I feared. The HOA had built on my lot by mistake. You could stop them immediately, he said. Send a cease and desist. But I didn't. Because something inside me wanted to see how far they'd go. For 6 months, I watched that clubhouse rise. I waved to the workers every morning. I even helped water the new plants out front. Everyone thought I'd let it go. When it finally opened, they threw a massive celebration. Balloons, speeches, even a local reporter. Karen stood on the steps with a champagne glass, declaring, this clubhouse represents unity, pride, and progress. Everyone cheered. Cameras flashed, and I stood quietly in the back, smiling. Because what none of them knew was that by this time tomorrow, everything they'd built, all their pride, all their unity would belong to me. The morning after the grand opening, the air in Maple Ridge felt different, too quiet, too smug. I put on my best suit, grabbed a leather folder, and headed straight for the new clubhouse. The place still smelled like fresh paint and new carpet. Sunlight spilled through the wide glass doors, and neighbors were already gathering, sipping coffee, chatting, laughing. Karen spotted me right away, waving that same fake smile she wore like armor. Mr. Walker, she called. Good to see you. What do you think of our new community clubhouse? I smiled back. It's beautiful, I said. Almost feels like home. Then I opened the folder and laid the papers on the nearest table. Actually, I continued, it is home. Mine, to be exact. Karen blinked. Excuse me? Here, I said, sliding the documents toward her. Deed, survey, and county records. Everything proves this building sits entirely on my property. And as of this morning, the county recorder's office has officially confirmed it. The chatter in the room died instantly. You could hear the air conditioning hum. Karen gave a nervous laugh. You can't be serious. The HOA, I interrupted, built its clubhouse on private land. My land, and now that it's finished, I'm taking possession. Someone near the coffee machine whispered, Is this real? Karen's voice rose an octave. You can't just take it. We have rights. Actually, I said calmly, you don't. You see, I gave you 6 months to make it right. You didn't. You built over my boundary line and you opened it to the public. That means every brick, every chair, every doorknob is legally mine. Karen's smile cracked. You're bluffing. I pulled a small silver object from my pocket, a new padlock. Try me. I walked to the main entrance, shut the door behind me, and clicked the lock into place. The metallic snap echoed across the room. Clubhouse is closed for maintenance, I said. Indefinitely. The crowd erupted. People shouted. Some called it unfair, others called me crazy, but I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. I turned to Karen. You know, you could have just apologized. But now, I gestured around the room. Now, this is just one very expensive reminder of what happens when you ignore property lines. I walked out, leaving them stunned. The next day, I got a call, an emergency HOA meeting. They begged, threatened, even tried to play nice. "We can offer you a settlement," Karen said. "Half the value of the land." I laughed. "Half? No, you want to use it? You rent it." By the end of the week, the HOA signed a lease. $3,000 a month, payable directly to me. Every time they hosted yoga, bingo, or a bake sale, they were technically renting my building. And every month, without fail, Karen had to hand me the check herself. The same hand that once raised a glass to community pride now shook as she passed me the rent. It's been a year since I locked that door. The Maple Ridge Clubhouse, my clubhouse, still stands proudly at the center of the neighborhood. The grass is trimmed, the windows shine, and every week the HOA hosts their meetings, yoga sessions, and bake sales inside it. The only difference? Now they pay rent for the privilege. At first, everyone hated me for it. The whispers followed me everywhere. "That's the guy who stole the clubhouse." But over time, the story changed. People started realizing the truth: I didn't steal anything. I just took back what was already mine. Karen lasted 6 months after that. She resigned quietly, moved out, and left the neighborhood for good. They replaced her with a man named Mark, friendlier, humbler, and a lot less arrogant. Funny thing is, Mark was the first one to knock on my door one morning with a piece, offering fresh coffee and a box of donuts. He said, "Walker, I don't blame you. They messed up. You just reminded everyone of the rules." We sat on my porch for an hour just talking. No lawyers, no papers, no bitterness. He asked if I'd consider reopening the clubhouse for more community events. I looked out toward the building and thought about it. For the first time in months, I didn't feel angry. I felt tired. Tired of the fights, the meetings, the petty lines drawn in the sand. So I agreed. A few weeks later, we hosted a charity fundraiser there for underprivileged kids who couldn't afford after-school programs. The same building that once divided the community now echoed with laughter, music, and purpose. At the end of the night, I stood by the main door, the same one I'd padlocked a year ago, and watched the kids play in the hallway. Mark came up beside me, smiling. "Never thought I'd see the day," he said. "You actually let people back in." I smiled faintly. It was never about keeping people out. Mark. It was about teaching them to respect what isn't theirs. He nodded slowly. "Guess we all learned something." When everyone left, I turned off the lights, locked the doors, and stood there for a long moment holding the keys. They felt heavier than before, not from metal, but from meaning. Because this whole thing, it was never just about property lines or deeds. It was about boundaries, in life, in respect, in the way we treat each other's space. Some people think winning means shouting the loudest, but real power, real justice, it's quiet, patient, precise. I slipped the keys into my pocket and looked back at the clubhouse one last time. "Funny," I said softly, "how something built on arrogance ended up teaching everyone humility." And as I walked away, I knew this story wasn't just mine. It was a reminder for anyone who's ever been taken advantage of. You don't have to fight dirty to win. Sometimes the best revenge is owning the outcome.